What is up, guys? Wraec here with a new video, and today with an update to my guide to the Black Reaper. In the recent days there was a lot of testing being done by the community, by me as well. Tried to test a few different teams, tried to test a few different methods. Was honestly quite insane with what the community came up with. It was quite a lot, actually, quite a lot of different teams. Even some off-meta stuff that got tested, one of which quite successful, and we have to take a look at that. For myself, I went into Lightbearer testing. I tested a bunch of different teams from the Lightbearer faction. You can see me basically start right here. Those were the attempts that we did before. Then I went into this Lightbearer team and tried that out. We can see it's here with Merrily and later on with Sinbad as well. And the first update I did from Merrily to Sinbad was like an insane damage increase. Then we did some more testing and noticed, well, it's just like very, very huge RNG, and even if you put a Mikola in there, the RNG is so big that you might just do 50% less damage on some attempt, even though you might have the better team. So just to show this, let's try out this team. This was my most successful team, my initial Sinbad team with Smokey, doing 6.6 billion on the first attempt. We now have a higher artifact. We have 20 more resonance on Corrin. We have 10 more resonance on the rest of the team. And we are just going to try to go in there and see which number we get. I mean, it should be a lot higher right now than it has been. It is nonetheless a very interesting team. The test of Sinbad that I did here was quite interesting because you have those marks above the main body of the boss. The green one, the red one you might have just seen. And interestingly enough, usually Sinbad is supposed to reassess the enemy once you defeat an enemy that had a mark and give the mark to somebody else. He doesn't do that because this guy just went into hiding. He doesn't even leave the battlefield really. He's just somewhere off the mat in some sewer pipe or something like that. I don't know. He's not defeated just because he splits up. So he doesn't really reallocate the mark during the splitting phase, which I pretty alright with. I mean, for the most case, it is pretty short. This team, however, I'm still a bit sure. I think that this is bugged because there's just so many hits coming from Corrin, so much damage coming from Corrin. It just seems very unnatural. This has a lot of RNG. This really has a lot of RNG. We are just at 4 billion. We have 13 seconds left. Even with the higher resonance, we're probably not going to get to the damage that I had in this singular hit we just saw. Maybe we are? No. We are actually lower, so gives you an idea, and that made it very, very hard to test. It is still a pretty successful team, nonetheless. You can probably get to even to 7-8 billion right now easily with this team if you have the right RNG. But there were some more teams, some more consistent teams that were found, and one of the teams I want to show you guys today, it is a Graveborn team, and this Graveborn team uses one specific talent that you have in your tree. I don't have the second talent buff tile here unlocked, sadly, in this talent tree, but it is important. I don't want to say it's not important, but it is important because it gives you another hero that gets buffed. This skill is the really important one, and what this basically says is when you defeat a non-summoned enemy, your hero gains 10% attack and some death, or assist or defeat. And you have a ton of enemies in this fight, actually. You have all of those small minions, and those don't really count as summons, so you can really scale your attack with it. And I want to show you guys a team that you can use for that. So the standard meta seems to look like this. We are going in with Lily May, we're going in with Rainier, we're going in with Viperian, Carolina, and of course we got Ludovic. Ludovic and Rainier both have a very interesting effect. They have a charm buff that grants the hero behind them an attack boost. I positioned Rainier right there because he has the higher attack boost of the two. He has a full epic jumps with 24%, and you want to have your Lily May, of course, with the highest attack possible. Viperian you can replace with somebody else. Viperian is pretty good in this situation, but if you want, you have the option to replace him with somebody else, maybe like Nara, maybe Salazar. Those, I would say, are decent options. We are going to go with Viperian for the moment, and while you weren't looking, by the way, I upgraded this artifact to +20. It's pretty important because you get more triggers. You actually only need 4 triggers once it is +20. It is quite good if you have upgraded it even further. If you have the second tile, of course, you would get all the buffs of Carolina plus the 40% bonus damage, but still you can make use of that. And I mean, Lots of people have Rainier. Many of you should have gone for Lily May, Carolina. So it is pretty friendly in terms of heroes that you need. Let's watch a fight and let's see what we can do with this. We just saw the fight with the Lightbearer team. From all the testing I've seen, we've seen different fights. This team in general seems to be a little more consistent. As you can see, by the way, look at the Lily May. Look at the buffs there. Do you see that? Do you see that super big row of buffs under her name? That is what I was talking about. That is basically what I was talking about. Those are the buffs that you get from doing all of this. And yes, it is going to be even more intense in just a second. It's just ridiculous, honestly. And I kind of like that, to be honest. I like the way they display buffs here. It is completely useless and nobody can see anything anymore. But it's just gorgeous. It is just gorgeous because, you know, okay, you get an idea that you have a lot of buffs. It's not really that you get to know which ones, but there are a lot of them, and I think that's alright. So 6.9, we actually beat the score that I had on the high run there, and with an immense damage from Lily May, and pretty low investment as well. I mean, we have 540 resonance for the artifact of +20, which is rather important, but we just have level 9 there. You could have had even more stats right here. We didn't get the attack scaling on Carolina, and you could have gotten probably the same attack scaling on Carolina as well, getting some more damage right there. So that is pretty good. For Riparian, I mean, is a great hero, but you can replace him if you don't own him. And I think that's about it, what we can say for this team. Just make sure you have the right skills equipped. We looked over these skills a second ago, and then you can probably do very well with this team. From all the attempts, as I have seen, the consistency is really what makes this Graveborn team great. And I think it is fairly interesting. We are still in an experimental phase, in a phase where you can try stuff. Feel free to do so. Look, the damage numbers here, we are not even close to 50%, so we have multiple days where we can try out different teams, and even if you lose out on a little bit of loot, it's not too bad. So you can feel free to try out some stuff, to be a little bit experimental, and even if you skilled into a skill for that isn't alright, you probably have an option to just reset your skill trees and skill it into a proper skill. Just make sure that when this nears the end, that you have a proper score set up, and that you maybe need 5-6 attempts, or if you want to make it sure, 7, 8, 9, to get the proper RNG for a real high roll that will bring you to the top of the leaderboard. So that is mostly what I wanted to say about this. Regarding the skills maybe on the Lightbearer faction, because I didn't show that, I don't have a whole lot skilled here. I have the first one completely and the second one just so that I can get to the talent buff tile. And you can also still use the Wilder team from my first video. That is also alright, though I think the scaling from this one, especially in this fight, is a little bit more potent and maybe something to look forward to. Also, for the people that haven't seen my live stream, I made a live stream about Sinbad testing. There is going to be a video on my channel pretty soon where we go into detail about Sinbad, whether I like him or not. Spoilers, I kind of like him. And next week we are going to talk a little bit about summoning rates, because that was asked by the community as well. I made a comment on that on my live stream, but we're going to make a video about that as well. So that being said, if you liked the video, feel free to subscribe to the channel, would make me very happy. And with that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.